lot of controversial. Some people that, despite their great on-the-field play, had a little bit of clouded history, some off-the-field issues. The first coming to mind being Joe Mixon, who was taken by the Bengals, in the second round. Now, the Bengals, obviously an organization, is not strangers to picking up, characters that may have had some off-the-field issues. Adam Pac-Man Jones comes to mind. What do you guys feel about Joe Mixon getting a second chance, being able to kind of come back, obviously, from a lot of off-the-field controversy with the restaurant incident and all of those things? How do you guys feel about Joe Mixon, the Bengals pick?
Kev, if you allow me to go first on this one.
Absolutely.
Now, everyone knows that I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so my commentary, I want to preface it by saying this is not me taking a personal shot at the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh,
I know my comments could be.
Now, anytime you're gonna give a disclaimer,
as me
caveat.
somehow wanting to disrespect the Cincinnati Bengals, but that's not the case. So, first, I'll start out with Joe Mixon. We all saw what the young man did, and it was absolutely deplorable. It was detestable, very difficult to look at visually, and no matter how many times you see that, I still feel the same way I felt the first time. Now, granted, there were some circumstances that led up to the attack, and we're not going to expunge the other party either of their responsibility for what happened. But under no circumstance can you, as a soon-to-be professional athlete, as a male, as someone who is 6'1", 6'2", 225, under no circumstance can you use your superhuman strength to do that to anybody, really, but especially a woman. So, with that said, I'm not here to make this guy a pariah for the rest of his life. We live in America, right? This is the place where you get a second chance no matter what happens. Okay? So I believe Joe Mixon does deserve a second chance. I believe he deserves an opportunity to make money in his profession, which is football, which is now his profession, football. So I don't have a problem with Joe Mixon getting a second chance. I do have a problem with him going to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I do. Now, here's the thing. Marvin Lewis, sterling reputation. He's been known as a player's coach, obviously one of the very few African-American coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So, has always been a defensive guru, and he's had a certain amount of success in Cincinnati, which would indicate he has pretty good judgment when it comes to bringing guys in. I like the fact that he gave Adam Pac-Man Jones a second opportunity. He drafted Vontaze Burfict, who was a guy that had first-round talent, but not necessarily a guy that people were, chomping at the bit to draft. And so now we have Joe Mixon. Okay? So if you take one of those individuals and you give them another chance, I'm cool with it. Maybe two. Okay? But now you're bringing in Joe Mixon. Okay? You're bringing in Joe Mixon, and you're adding him to an already volatile roster. Let's be honest. Vontaze Burfict is not in his right mind. We all know that. Is he a hell of a player? Absolutely. But he's out of control. I literally saw between him and Pac-Man Jones, they gave my Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 years ago, they gave us a victory.
They gave you a gift.
They gave us a gift because these individuals were out of control. Now, granted, I don't think Joe Mixon has those same on-the-field character issues.
No way.
As those two individuals. But what I'm getting at here is I think Marvin Lewis has lost control of that Bengal franchise. I think his voice no longer resonates and carries the same way it used to. And now when you're going to bring in Joe Mixon and all of the ballyhoo that's going to surround that situation, And you still have, I mean, I believe Pac-Man Jones just got in trouble for something not too long ago. Again, allegedly. We don't know.
Now, are you saying the Bengal doesn't change his stripes?
You know what? That's certainly what it sounds like to me. I think the status of that organization, and I'm going to wrap it up, the status of that organization right now would not lead me to believe that Marvin Lewis or anyone else is in a position to deal with more than one or two headaches on that roster. And so, again, does Joe Mixon deserve a second chance? Absolutely. On the Bengals roster? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, now Kev, I'm gonna transition to some other players, another organization who's no stranger to taking chances on players that have possible character issues off the field. The Oakland Raiders, for now, the Oakland Raiders. Gareon Conley, first rounder, 24th pick out of the Ohio State. Big rape accusation. Obviously, the Raiders were ranked, 24th in pass defense. They gave up a league high 61 completions of 20 yards or longer. They needed to get more formidable in the defensive back area. How do you feel about the risk versus reward on a guy like Gareon?
And I want to come back to the Joe Mixon thing
Absolutely.
as soon as I answer this. The Raiders, you cannot draft a young man who is involved in a criminal investigation, in particular when it comes to rape. You've got to leave that player alone. Not only that, but there were 7 to 8.
Pass the lie detector test.
Right. Oh, I'm aware of that. When you have 7 or 8 other cornerbacks you could have selected at that position, who I, quite frankly, are going to project better. Kevin King is one out of the University of Washington. But when you have that many defensive backs who are right on par with that young man, his name is escaping me. What's the young man's name? Conley.
Gareon Conley.
Pending an investigation. Now, he was in the green room. He was at the draft. I believe in the green room, they sent him back home. They sent him back to Columbus. So there was some new information that must have came out, besides the fact of the polygraph, that might have that might have scared some people. So, if you're the Raiders, you have to leave that guy alone. There were plenty of other defensive backs. Let me get back to Joe Mixon. America, my name's Kevin Cornegay, and I am absolutely thrilled that Joe Mixon has received a second chance. Local product out of Freedom High School out here in the Bay Area.
Oakley, right?
Oakley. Went to Freedom High School, and I don't believe in throwing young kids away. Young men away, especially under the age of 18. When Joe Mixon committed this crime, I believe he was 17 and a half years old. He was still under 18. It happened 3 years ago. No question, he was wrong. He received punishment, 1 year away from the football team, worked his way back on. Also paid a hefty settlement, which just got paid, I believe, about a week and a half ago. Did anybody catch the statement from the victim after she received payment?
I didn't catch the statement. I knew the settlement happened.
She wished him well in his NFL career. She mentioned that they talked several times after the incident. She mentioned that they also went to counseling meetings together after the incident. She had high praise for Joe Mixon after she received that settlement. Now,
she got paid, Kev. She got paid.
Yes.
Call it what it is.
Well, absolutely.
If I was on that United Airlines flight and I was that so-called doctor that got assaulted, okay, I'd be pretty darn happy as well.
Right.
I'd be doing all type of counseling sessions with United. Okay, I'd be in flight videos.
Right.
What you do and what you don't do in the video.
Right.
She got paid.
She said, "Turn the other cheek."
Hey, she got paid. And and again, when we're dealing with young people, especially that young, under 18, 19, 20 years old, they still have the rest of their lives to live. They still have to go out and find employment. So if you're telling me if Joe Mixon wanted to be a doctor, or he wanted to be a lawyer, or maybe he wanted to be, I don't know, a professor,
Boxer.
Those are very privileged professions to be in. Are you telling me that he doesn't deserve an opportunity to be a brain surgeon? He doesn't deserve an opportunity to be a lawyer? He doesn't deserve so the only opportunity he deserves is to work at the local gas station, or to work at the local McDonald's and make minimum wage. So we have to settle ourselves down. We have to understand it's a young kid. He still has 30 to 40 years left to live of his life. He's only going to play about 10 years in the NFL, and then after that, he has to go out and find employment. I'm thrilled he gets a second chance. And
I'll tell you what, this seems like, in terms of giving a second chance, this is kind of like the Ray Rice ripple effect. I mean, he had to be the one that really paid the price.
Right.
Not got that second chance.
Good point.
For individuals such as this to get an opportunity to get on the field and to make a living and do those types of things. So Ray Rice took that whipping. Well, his girlfriend, wife did, but he took the theoretical, whipping, for guys like Mixon. So one other guy, I know you're a big Wolverine guy.
Yeah. And
Javon, and Jordan Lewis, cornerback, that was picked up in round 3.
Yeah.
By us Cowboys.
Yeah.
He had a misdemeanor domestic violence charge. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're saying that it might get thrown out. The Cowboys did their diligence.
Yeah.
Physical, competitive cornerback. Do you feel he'll be able to overcome his off the field issues and be a contributor for a depleted, cornerback core in Dallas?
Oh, there's no question. Let me go on the record saying this. I believe Jordan Lewis is the best press man corner in this draft.
Wow.
Again, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Michigan fan. I studied the tape.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is constantly at the hip of the receiver. Very few times did I see him get beat, and he went against some great receivers throughout his Michigan career. This guy was really a steal for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it's well documented that the Cowboys have had some problems in the secondary. I can tell you right now, this gentleman will be the best cover corner on that team within a couple years. He has that type of ability. Only downside is he's on the smaller side, 5'10", about 185, 190. But when it comes to pure cover skills, he can cover. He's not scared to come up and tackle you either. But in regards to his domestic violence accusation, they're saying that it may get thrown out. But regardless of whether it gets thrown out or not, to me, there's no difference between him and Joe Mixon. They both deserve opportunities to move forward with their careers. I don't condone domestic violence. I've never condoned domestic violence. But I think the level of seriousness is a little bit different with his situation. I think we've all encountered girlfriends in the past, significant others in the past that if they can't get exactly what they want, and this is what I'm hearing about this story, if they can't get exactly what they want...
Be careful, be careful, be careful.
Okay. Now listen. I'm just putting out there what they're saying with this story. I don't know whether it's exactly what happened, but based on what Jordan Lewis is saying, he's saying that he had a very controlling girlfriend, and apparently they didn't see eye to eye with something, and he said that she was going to ruin his career. So I can see that happening. The charge was a misdemeanor charge. It wasn't a felony charge.
And we do know that athletes or prospective professional athletes are targeted. We do know that there is some things like that go on, not marginalizing what happened if this individual was truly a victim. But we do.
Let me clarify. as I just repeated, I am not a supporter of domestic violence. I absolutely do not believe in it. So I don't want the people to get the wrong idea to say that I'm somehow condoning this. But by the same time, the same token, we have to be realistic about what happens out there.
Right. Absolutely.
I've literally seen text messages, and I've literally heard people on the phone literally say things to someone who was in a position to where they were going to be able to cash out. They literally said, "I will ruin your life."
Wow.
This was I will recently.
I will make something up so that you think that you're just about to leave me and be cool. Nah, it's not about to happen like that. So what I'm saying is it works both ways. The domestic violence is not cool. If that's what he's convicted of, or if the evidence or the reports come out that it is something that he did, then he's like Joe Mixon. He's like anybody else.
Right.
I'm not going to support what you did. Do you deserve a chance, an opportunity to make a living? Absolutely. But let's not be blind to the fact that you do have individuals out there that are vindictive and can be controlling in these situations, and they cry wolf. And unfortunately, you got guys that get caught up in that, behind that. That's all I'm saying, Kev. I don't support any of that.
Completely agree. I think we all agree. Keep all the hitting on the field. Okay. So
absolutely.